our Sunrise Smart Start, the White House says President Biden and Russian leader Vladimir Putin will speak today, with Ukraine said to be at the top of the agenda. The call was requested by Putin. We are joined now by Washington correspondent Jesse Tenor, live in D.C. for us this morning. Jesse, can you tell us about the Russian troop buildup at the Ukrainian border?
Yeah, good morning, Katrina. There are more than 100,000 troops, Russian troops, currently stationed along the border right now. And a senior administration official told us that there has essentially been no effort by Russia to lower tensions. And President Putin has maintained that they are not planning to attack Ukraine, but U.S. intelligence would say otherwise. And so moving forward, President Biden has made it very clear that if an attack on Ukraine would happen, that the U.S. is ready to respond, and that's mostly with economic sanctions that he said would be devastating to the country. But of course, a lot of this hangs in the balance and still remains to be seen. And this is really kind of a follow-up to a call that the presidents had earlier this month where they discussed the same thing.
And are there other items that they're planning on addressing on the agenda for this meeting?
Yeah, President Biden keeps saying, too, that that officials with the U.S. and from Russia have been in constant contact, and that will kind of come to fruition in the weeks to come. On January 10th, there's going to be some bilateral talks happening in Geneva between officials, and President Biden has said that he could potentially be meeting with Vladimir Putin during that time as well, but they're not expected to be meeting face-to-face. It's mostly diplomatic officials kind of taking the lead there, especially from our State Department.
All right, Jesse, thank you so much for that report. Earlier this month, the two leaders held a video call to discuss the Ukrainian border issues. After that call, federal officials said they would impose heavy economic sanctions on Russia if they were to invade the Ukraine. Well, a jury has found Gillian Maxwell, the former girlfriend of accused sexual predator Jeffrey Epstein, guilty of 5 of the 6 charges against her, including the most serious of grooming and trafficking of young girls. In 2019, Epstein died in a Manhattan jail cell as he awaited trial. Officials ruled that a suicide. Time now for our GRE Morning Business Report. Flight disruptions continue to ripple across the world. According to FlightAware, more than 2,000 flights were canceled yesterday globally. More than 700 of those are U.S.-based flights. Inclement weather and an ongoing uptick in coronavirus cases is denting staffing levels. The domestic cancellations are lower than the start of the week, but the disruption continues to leave holiday travelers stranded as they try to make their way back home. The pain at the pump is expected to get worse in the new year. According to Gas Buddy, the national average is expected to rise to $3.41 a gallon in 2022. That's up from the current level of $3.28 a gallon. The projected increase would be a reversal of the recent trend of falling prices. Every level of DoorDash employee, including the CEO, will be delivering your food again next month. The company said it's reinstating a program called WeDash, which it paused during the pandemic. That means workers, no matter their ranks, will make deliveries at least once a month. Well, time to check back in with Christine, who's got another look at our morning forecast.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a dreary type of a morning, but temperatures are a lot milder than where we started yesterday. We're in the upper 30s now, and it does look like that's where a lot of us will stay throughout much of the day, ending with a high of around 40 degrees. We do have a lot of cloud cover, though, maybe an isolated spotty shower or two, but otherwise I think we're looking pretty quiet. Those rain chances a lot more few and far between than what we will see this weekend. I think we're definitely looking at some rain on Saturday, a lot more widespread than what we're seeing right now, and then Sunday definitely looks like a lot more of a snowier feel with temperatures dropping. So we'll give you one last sneak peek of your forecast as we could potentially see some of that rain and snow coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks so much, Christine. Time now to get a look at the roadways with traffic. We do have an accident to tell you about on West Ridge Road at Lake Avenue this morning. That's affecting both eastbound and westbound lanes. You're looking now at some pictures from the thruway. Things there are moving along nicely this morning. Well, 2 more days until municipalities submit a final decision on marijuana dispensaries and on-site consumption lounges, to opt in or to not. That's the big question. If a town does neither, they will automatically be enrolled. Ericketta Koss joins us live with details on this. Good morning, Ericketta.
Good morning, Katrina. And if a town or a village opts out before that December 31st deadline, they always have the option to opt back in. In Monroe County, only a handful of municipalities have formally opted in, and that includes the village of Brockport. I spoke to the mayor there on how they went about their decision process. Margie Blackman, village mayor, says it took a lot of research on her own time and listening to public feedback. Another key factor for her and the village board was talking to other municipalities with SUNY schools. Most are opting in, and many SUNY families are supportive of it. And you may be wondering, could this bring a lot of financial success for a village? Here's what Blackman had to say.
The financial considerations were really sort of minor. We have no idea how much, if any money, we would make on this. But why should, the feeling I think, why should some other municipality, benefit from, our people going to that municipality to buy marijuana?
Now, a big criticism of allowing these dispensaries is concern for an uptick in driving under the influence. Blackman says she's not worried because the law is very regulated and legalization has been in place for several months. And she says their police department also has their own drug recognition expert. For now in Rochester, Erica Cost, News 8.
Erica, thank you. For more on this new law, head over to our website, rochesterfirst.com. Now for the latest on COVID-19. We are just days away from the end of winter break and a return to school for local students. Bo Wright, president of the Monroe County Council of School Superintendents, says measures are in place to keep schools open during this latest COVID surge. New guidance for educators exposed to COVID-19 says if they're not symptomatic and they're fully vaccinated, they can go back in 5 days in person with an N95 mask. Wright also stressed continued masking is a way to keep schools open.
And I know that families are worried about going back to remote learning. And I think for all of us, that's going to be a last resort. We're prepared to do it. We have the infrastructure in place now. But, we want to have kids in our schools for in-person learning, and we're fully committed to that.
Governor Kathy Hochul announced last week that New York State would receive 5 million at-home COVID-19 testing kits by December 31st, with 2 million earmarked for school districts. Wright says he expects districts will eventually send many of those kits home with students. Monroe County reporting over 1,500 new COVID cases during yesterday's update. 482 of those were at-home tests. The county health department says the high number is due to a backlog from the holiday weekend, which will take a few more days to clear up. 506 people are in the hospital with COVID in the Finger Lakes region, 129 of them in the ICU. Rochester police are investigating after an 18-year-old was shot yesterday afternoon near Pardee Street. Police say the victim, who lives out of state, was in the area of Joseph Avenue and Pardee Street at the time of the shooting. Police say he is being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators believe the victim was not the intended target. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. And Rochester police investigating a separate shooting from yesterday in which a 31-year-old man was shot. Officers responded shortly after 10:30 yesterday morning to McNaughton Street. Investigators say bystanders took the victim to the hospital. We're told his injuries are serious, but he's expected to live. Police believe this was a targeted shooting. No word on if any suspects are in custody yet, but anyone with information should also call 911. The Rochester Public Market will be closed on Saturday due to New Year's Day. If you need to do some shopping, the market will be open today until 1 o'clock and will be back to normal hours beginning Tuesday, January 4th. Well, here's what some folks might be talking about at the water cooler this morning. The Rochester Americans back in action after a brief hiatus due to COVID concerns across the AHL. This was also the first game all fans ages 5 and up had to show proof of vaccination to gain entry into the Blue Cross Arena. The Amerks came away with the 5-3 win over the Providence Bruins last night. Well, time now to get a check of our morning forecast from Christine. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, so we're so far so good off on this Thursday morning. A few rain or snow showers are not out of the question. Our satellite and radar, though, definitely offering a little bit of a different impression, though. A lot of what we're seeing on radar is not reaching the ground. You can see a lot of the system is starting to break apart even as we head throughout the next couple of hours. So besides that spotty shower chance, I do think we are mostly dry today. Temperatures also starting a little bit of a milder trend. We're 37 in Rochester. We've got upper 30s in store for pretty much most of the day. I think it's overall quiet besides that spotty shower. Then we trend even more mild as we end our week. As we head into the weekend, it definitely looks like the trends are pointing to a washout of a weekend. We've got rain showers on Saturday. That will last through much of the day. Then we finally get colder with some snow showers, maybe even a little bit of lake effect as we end the weekend on Sunday. So if you've been looking for some snow, it does look like we could potentially get maybe an inch or two once we end out the weekend, Katrina.
But definitely looking like a wet weekend, and temperatures today still above where we should be.
Yeah, it's really not too bad. A little bit chilly, but we could be a lot colder.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure we have the umbrellas handy for the weekend, though. Thanks, Christine. Well, thanks so much for watching News 8 at Sunrise. Our next update's coming up in about 30 minutes. CBS Mornings is up next.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on RochesterFirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.